Welcome, everyone, to That Kind of Nerds coverage of Game of Thrones. This is Season 7, Episode 3. I am CJ Mellon, joined, of course, by Josh Burns and Brian Thornton.
What up, man?
Unfortunately, Craig will not be joining us this week. He is on a fishing trip, and I have been told that all the Greyjoys are far away from him so he can be safe on his boat. So let's start this episode focusing on the events at Dragonstone, because we finally got the meeting that we've been waiting for seasons, and we finally see Jon and Daenerys meeting, and we learn two things. You do not want to be behind Daenerys when you're at a Starbucks, and Jon Snow needs no long introduction, okay?
This is Jon Snow. That was some of the funniest shit that I've ever seen. That was really solid. But the comment that Laura made was, "Oh, guys, thanks for not dragging this journey out." And I went, "Yeah, like a month
fast traveled.
Like a month has passed." I mean, that's the thing, right? You don't just get to Dragonstone. It's not just like a hop, skip, and a warp speed away. It takes like a month. So it was. They were good to us, because it could have been a bunch of hobbits walking around. It could
somewhere Peter Jackson's going, you could have had great scenery of them walking. I'm just saying. Had to walk to the boat.
Right. You notice all the beautiful green vistas. We don't need that. We just need Jon to meet Daenerys. And I like very much that Jon was kind of like, bitch, I don't know you.
Right.
Like, that was, essentially, that was the crux of his message.
What I like...
So the crux of his message to me was the meme that I saw online, and I should have sent it to you, and I'm sorry I didn't. Has a picture of Daenerys, says, bend the knee, and Jon Snow's picture just says, suck the D. That was his response.
Oh, man.
Which I thought was awesome.
I did like the fact that, as fans, we were hoping for they would see each other, and they somehow either would know that they're either either related, or that they're in love.
How is that going to happen? In love with his aunt?
Listen, whoa.
I think
they're Targaryens, so yeah.
I think she already suspects something, because Davos almost let it slip that he died. That he took a dagger to the heart, and she's already like, what the hell does that mean?
Yeah, she's Tyrion, what do you think he meant? Died for his people. And Tyrion's like, oh, that guy says all kinds of crazy shit.
Yeah. Well, can we rewind for a second? Because I swear to God, I think Jon Snow almost smiled when he was talking to Tyrion on the beach.
He did.
And he did.
Yeah. And that was actually very cool.
He did that little smirk. You're like, ah!
Right. Well, I was expecting a predator insulting each other, and then they did the ah.
Yeah.
Like, it's been a long time.
That's what I was thinking.
We're happy.
But I was expecting the predator moment. I was just thinking Jon Snow would be like, you son of a bitch. And then they would just like clasp hands firmly.
Like the Carl Weathers, Arnold Schwarzenegger moment is what you were expecting.
That's what I was waiting for.
I feel like there's a better analogy in there, but I'm going to accept your predator analogy. Even though there's a better one, I'm sure. That's the one we'll go with. Good Lord. Yeah, I was very happy with that scene. It made me smile. It was very cool. And then Tyrion very clearly, telling Daenerys, look, he's a good dude. Like, you know what he's not? He's not a dick. Everybody likes him. He's a good dude. So I was happy with it.
I just can't get over the fact that Jon goes to Daenerys and says, hey, Army of the Dead is coming. And she goes, well, that's a load of horse shit. Says the person with 3 dragons and who can't get burned. I don't understand that.
There can't possibly
Everyone
be an
thought
army
dragons
of the dead.
were extinct. Well, there's White Walkers coming. Well, that's a myth.
Listen,
so,
you took 3 stones into a fire and came out with 3 dragons. Don't tell me no bullshit about there can't be a Night King. There clearly can be. And for me, I don't know if I was more sort of incredulous about that reaction, or the fact that in my fantasy league, I only got 5 points for Tyrion's wits this episode. 5.
Was it for the entire scene where he's just like, I came up here to brood?
Right, I mean,
came up here to brood about my failure, and you're making me feel
you're far better at brooding
over my
than
failure.
I am. But like, that wasn't the only funny thing he said. He was brilliant. Like we finally.
I like the bit too of it's a long and bloody story. I was drunk for most of it.
Yeah,
like,
that's
yes,
what I'm saying. Right. He had like many witty lines. I got 5 fucking points, and I'm super sour about it.
So let's focus in though on this meeting and really what was said, because there's also a lot of subtext in there. Obviously, there's a lot of mistrust, right? No one really knows what to make of each other. Jon's on his mission to go fight the army of the dead. Daenerys is there to pledge allegiance. I want the North to bend the knee and make one kingdom. And then it's politics for a couple minutes going, listen, your father burned my uncle alive. So your allegiance is gone, and I don't know you, you don't know me, so fuck this. Like, this is not how we're going to get this relationship off on the right foot. And I like the fact that Tyrion, in several moments when he's talking to Jon and talking to Daenerys, is like, if I was with Jon, I wouldn't tell him to come meet you. I wouldn't tell him to.
He said the same thing to Jon.
Yeah,
he was like, if I was your hand, I would have told you not to show up. There's no reason for you to be here.
Yeah, so I mean, with all this talk, though, even with Jon, even with Daenerys working together, or at least communicating, and it's because of Tyrion that shit actually gets done, right? It's Tyrion's on that cliff with no surprise.
That's been this
Tyrion's
whole
on the
show.
Yeah, he's been the deal maker, and he goes, "Listen," Jon's like, "Hey, do you believe me about the White Walkers?" And Tyrion wisely goes, "Why don't you just tell me what you need, right? Just tell me what's going on." It's like, "I need the dragon glass." So he goes to Dany. He's like, listen, it's not going to hurt you at all to give him the damn dragon glass. It's worthless. And if we make him happy, maybe we'll get an ally. This is Tyrion at his best, doing what he does, what we love about him, which is just being the mastermind to see 8 moves ahead, which leads to a fantastic interaction between Dany and Jon, where they're talking and they're just having a really great interaction, and then she kind of looks at him with basically the new "you-know-nothing" Jon Snow line, which is, "You better get to work, Jon Snow." They're testing each other and just kind of seeing how they react, and it's great to see that interaction happening. What do you guys think though about Tyrion being the master planner and just kind of pushing this through like he always does?
Well, I think that was, we knew it was going to go that way at the very start of the scene when Davos Seaworth was introduced as the guy who almost took King's Landing, and Tyrion said, well, yeah, almost, but I kind of had the plan then too, right? And I do think that his idea of just give a little, just concede something you don't care at all about. It doesn't matter, right? It's gonna make a big difference on the back end. That was a really solid plan. It's the reason he's the Hand of the Queen.
And he's kind of playing both sides, right? He's kind of like Varys a little bit.
He's not playing both sides. Like he was honest with Jon. If I was your hand, I would have told you not to come here.
No, he's loyal to Daenerys.
Yes,
period.
He is loyal to Daenerys.
Everything he says has to do with helping Daenerys.
Yep.
It's true. She doesn't need the dragon glass, but Jon does, and she needs an ally. So, hey, if we tell Jon, take this, you go do what you got to do. We're not going to be able to send our army with you, but at least you have your weapons for these quote unquote army of the dead that no one believes in. We might, when we call upon you for King's Landing, you might actually come.
His loyalty isn't in no way flailing, and he's not playing both sides. He was honest with Jon, right, about their time together, about their journey, about the fond memories, and about the fact that they're both survivors and still there.
Right.
He was honest about the advice he'd provide, and he was honest with Daenerys. I think the thing about Tyrion is, with his gift for deception, he has found that he is best off when he's brutally honest. And that theme has played out over and over and over. But that wasn't the only thing I was interested in at Dragonstone. It was the scene with Melisandre and Varys.
Yes. Thank you for bringing that up.
I thought was very cool. And especially, Varys always feels like he's got one up on people. And he's made this mistake with Red Priestesses twice now. Right? The first one who told him about what happened when he was a boy.
Right.
And now Melisandre's like, no, I got to come back here one more time. I have to die here, just like you have to die here. And he's like, what? Wait a minute. What was that now? Because I heard you say die, but. So that begs the question. We know Varys, above everything else, is a survivor. Would he bail? Right? And maybe sort of meet his fate on the road he seeks to evade it? Or does he stay the course and we see he survives, maybe Melisandre's full of shit?
No, I don't see
because
him
she's been flawed a few times.
But technically, if he dies of old age, he still dies.
Yeah, it's a vague thing. Like
he's not old.
He never Yeah. It really is a veiled threat. And Varys being so, shaken up and worried and scared about, wizards and
that's the first time we've really seen him really shaken though, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, from appearance sake, and I think that really is just because she said it to him. If it was anybody else, it wouldn't have been a big deal. But because she's a red priestess and she knows magic, he's all, that's his weakness. That's his kryptonite. He's terrified of that stuff after what happened to him as a kid.
Superman is also weak against magic as well. Just going to throw that little tidbit out there for you.
But no, I don't think Varys would bail because he's loyal to the realm, and he honestly believes that Dany is the best thing for the realm. So I don't see him bailing.
All right. Fair enough.
All right. Well, then let's keep the reunion conversation going, and let's talk about the reunion at Winterfell.
Yes. Can we please talk about this?
In rolls Bran, right? And he's
awkward.
like, hey, let's have a conversation. Let me casually drop your...
No. I think you're taking that way out of context. There was nothing casual about that. He said, I'm the three-eyed raven. She said... Okay, well, that's weird. How'd that happen? Well, the three-eyed raven showed me how. But I thought you said you were... Yes, I see everything. No, I don't believe you. Listen, I see everything. I saw everything that happened to you. I'm sad it happened to you in our home. Oh, shit. He does see everything. It wasn't about him trying to casually strike a blow. It was the only way he could convince her that he actually does see it.
All right.
This scene reminded me of the scene at the end of Matrix Reloaded with the architect.
A bit, right?
And I'm sitting there like, what the hell
all
is
we
he
just
talking
need,
about?
Where are all
need
the
is a
screens
vis-a-vis.
behind Sansa where she's cursing and flipping the bird?
Just waiting for all sorts of TVs behind him.
Right.
Is like, this has all happened before. It'll all happen again. And you need to make a choice. And I'm like... I just can't. Like, if I were Sansa, I'd be like, fuck you, and I'd leave. Like,
did that cheapen it for you? The feeling that it was like that scene with the architect?
No, it didn't cheapen it for me. It wasn't impactful at all. It just felt awkward. And it was awkward because, yeah, he chose that moment. Out of all the moments that he could have seen, that they've been separated for years, he's chose to talk about that particular event in her life.
Don't you think that event is the one that would evoke the most visceral response and convince her?
He doesn't need a visceral response. He just needs her to understand what he means by this. I'm past, present, and future. I see everything.
But the only way to convince someone of that is to show them. Look. Here's the shit you don't want anybody to see. You don't want anybody to see it. I see it.
Right, I get that, but he can't.
I see you when you pee.
As a brother, though, right? You're kind of just like
as a brother.
He's not a brother anymore. I think that's the point.
Okay.
Is that
Damn it, stop making good points, okay? It's not allowed.
He's no longer her brother. He is this otherworldly thing. Right?
He can't be a Lord of the North anymore because he's the three-eyed raven.
He's the three-eyed raven.
You're
he's not
right.
the Warden of the North. It's not his rightful place. He's no longer a Stark, is his point to her. And I think in the long run, it's going to mean he is going to make a decision that isn't necessarily the best thing for House Stark. And I think
absolutely.
This is a precursor to that.
I also like, just at a side note, I found this Twitter post that had Jaden Smith tweets right over Bran's face, and they fit perfectly. And there was another one that's just like, yeah, Brandon Stark reminds me of the first time you smoke weed and think you have an intelligent conversation with somebody. I'm the three-eyed raven. I see everything. Whoa. It's it was weird at first, but now that you're actually talking me through it, Josh, I see where you're coming from, and I see why this interaction was actually not weird and awkward and more like...
It's the same way that you say to yourself, does every Muse song need to be an epic fucking event? Right? Like, does everything Bran says need to be existential and weird? No, but it is, because that's the way Muse tracks are. They're epic events. So
I feel like they're just putting up shower thoughts, and they'll just feed those lines. That's kind of
yeah. Bran is full of shower thoughts. He's just gonna.
And this is feeding into the theory too that Bran is the three-eyed raven that they saw earlier. That he was that old man, and he's time traveling, and all this wibbly wobbly stuff.
Time
which is
traveling.
Very
he's
interesting.
just existing in every time, in every place. He's the
Right,
watcher. He's the watcher.
Yeah.
He's
Time
the
traveling
architect.
In air quotes. He's the architect. That's right. The thing that I really like though about Winterfell, besides having that reunion, and yeah, it was an awkward reunion, but it really, now that I understand, it really kind of sets the tone as to what Bran really is.
Stop, because it wasn't an awkward reunion. It was actually a very sweet moment.
Right. But the thing that got me the most
at the Godswood was a different thing altogether.
Right.
Because the tree was looking at him. The tree was fucking looking at him.
Yes. The other thing that really got me, though, made a big impact, was Littlefinger's speech and what he said to Sansa, which was, fight every battle everywhere.
That was
always
awesome.
Everyone is your enemy. Everyone is your friend. See the whole battle. Like, what great advice for the world that Sansa is stuck in. And for one moment, I'm like, I like you, Baelish. I like your thought here.
Well, but I think it's informative about his character, right? The reason he is so good is because he is everybody's friend and everybody's enemy, and he's in essence he's completely agnostic all the time. And if you don't care about anyone and you care about everyone, then you can always make the right decision. But that isn't unlike what Bran is saying as well. Like, he's just sort of neutral. He's not for anyone. He's not against everyone.
But Littlefinger's not neutral.
Well,
he's always playing on his team.
So
he's a team of one.
Okay, but that's I guess what I'm saying is that's the dichotomy. They're neither opposed nor aligned. Baelish is for and against everyone, and Bran is for and against no one. It doesn't make them opposite. It's just two sides of a coin. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
It's
a balance between those two.
The books never got there. This is a very interesting plot twist for me.
I'm really interested in what Bran has to say to Jon. Because one of the first things he says was, Jon's not here, but I need to talk to him.
I need to talk to Jon. Where's Jon? Right.
Yeah. So I'm interested, once Jon comes back, what that conversation is going to be. If that conversation is going to be, if Bran's going to tell him that he's Targaryen, that he has some claim to the throne, and that maybe he should oppose Daenerys. I don't know.
I don't think Bran is going to tell Jon that he has a claim to the throne, because Jon doesn't even want the claim to the throne. I mean, he really doesn't care about that. I think it's more of, hey, here's your heritage and here's who you are.
However,
here's your identity.
As Rhaegal's son, he is the legitimate heir.
Is he going to tell him about how White Walkers were created? Maybe Bran's the key to destroying the White Walkers.
Yeah, I think and we'll have to speculate later down the road what Bran needs to say to Jon.
Or
will Bran just tell him, Hodor died, and the reason he said Hodor was because I'm a dumbass.
Let me tell you, you're never going to say hold the door to anybody ever again after I tell you this story.
The last time I was in two places at once, I ruined a dude.
But no, I again, not a whole lot happening at Winterfell in the sense of like action, but a lot of character nuances are coming out, and again, building up some hope that what is Bran going to say to Jon? It's going to be very interesting to see that happen.
Yep.
Anything else at Winterfell you guys think we need to talk about? Anything else that we missed?
Well, we missed Arya. She's not there. So
we legitimately missed her because she's not there.
Well, the thing is that this is what I really
we just established that there's time travel in the sense that like Jon's already at at Dragonstone. So I mean, time has passed. There should be enough time for Arya to get to.
I don't think so. I think Jon fast traveled. I think he got to a waypoint and was able to fast travel to the
this is not
the
Skyrim.
castle. But
He
here's
does
the
not
thing
travel
about
by
Arya.
map.
Here's the thing about Arya. You can't fast travel when there's enemies nearby. She's surrounded by them.
Well, John John was traveling by boat and she's on horseback, so it's going to take her longer. That's fine.
Well, the other theory is she could be at Winterfell.
Wearing
someone else's
face. You're right. She could be. That's I can't take that away.
But it's a noticeable thing that we didn't see her at all.
Yes.
That we didn't even see her as Arya.
I was sad-faced about that.
Good observation. All right, let's talk about a little bit of the action that came in this episode, and that was Casterly Rock. Because at first you're just like, oh, this is gonna be a bloodbath, and the Unsullied are just gonna take this whole place. Only to realize they're like, wow, we really don't have everybody that we're supposed to have here. A couple of us have died, and now we don't have a navy.
Jaime pulled the same head fake that Robb Stark pulled.
Yes,
the exact
totally took a book.
The exact same head fake, and Casterly, they're like, yeah, go ahead and take it. We actually we already took all the gold, so you're kind of screwed. And now you have to march from the southernmost point in the Seven Kingdoms to King's Landing. Good luck, guys.
They didn't just take the gold; they also took the food, so they can't stay there.
Yeah, they took everything.
So I mean, they literally have to abandon this position, and just like you said, they have to walk it now. You can't take a boat.
Yep, you're screwed.
Tyrion is gonna be pissed. The guy was like, "Hey, remember that time that everyone hated me, and I was allowed to build the sewers so I could sneak bitches up in there? Well, that's the way I got in, and oh, great, well, we have to leave." So it just kind of sucked a little bit. I did not see it coming. I was thoroughly surprised. I didn't know Jaime had it in him, but that proves that you shouldn't underestimate a Lannister.
The thing about Tyrion sort of planning it out was brilliant. I like that very much. And again, more witty comments should have gotten me more points right there in that scene, but they didn't, and I'm angry about it. But overall, like the winner of like that scene was Jaime Lannister. Hands down.
Yeah. Well, so then let's just transition right into the events at Highgarden, because there's some more bloodbath. Right there, we see this house, this big house being taken down.
We don't even see the bloodbath. Apparently, you
don't need to see the bloodbath because apparently Highgarden they're not built to fight, right? And that's what Olenna Tyrell said. Like, well, did we fight well? Well, you fought as well as could be expected for a bunch of pussies. So yeah, like I guess. And she's like, yeah, well, we've never really been much for fighting, right? But then Jaime thought he was winning that scene as well, but not so much.
God. So first off, thank God we finally have some damn closure as to who killed Joffrey. After Jaime goes through great lengths to make sure that her death is going to be painless.
What are you saying, Brian?
We've known who killed Joffrey.
No.
Yeah.
To this point, everybody felt like it was Peter Baelish.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's never been confirmed. A lot of theories, never been confirmed.
I gotta rewatch that season then.
Baelish was the one that smuggled Sansa out, and even in the books, you assume it was Baelish.
Okay.
Because he constructed the fool being embarrassed and that whole situation and so on and so forth. And then the fool that Joffrey embarrassed was the one that got Sansa to Baelish and out. So you just assume that it was he that poisoned the king. What we find out in Highgarden, after Olenna Tyrell drinks a cup full of poison.
And then she says, man, I'd really hate to go the way your son did.
Right. Is it going to be painful? Right. It's going to be painful. Nope. I heard it goes quick. Great. And she guzzles it and goes, that's great, because I'd hate to go the way your son did.
And and then she goes, I had no idea that's what the poison would do.
Right.
But, I'm glad I did it. Tell Cersei.
Right. Yeah. Please tell her. I want her to know it was me.
And she also calls Cersei a monster. And she really calls Jaime out for not being really able to see it. She calls him a fool for not being able to see the fact that she's going to be the end of you, is what she says. She'll be the end of you. And we've been contemplating what's going to happen to Jaime, but the move was so just blazing and just fuck you and your goddamn house. And I'm glad your children are dead kind of moment. It was so charged, and I was I couldn't put two thoughts together. I thought it was just so amazing to get this reveal.
The thing is,
the way that they did.
It wasn't for me. Cersei's been telling Jaime this whole time that it's Tyrion.
Yeah.
So his brother is in exile, killed his father. All of these things transpired because of what Cersei has said. And you got to think all these events are pushing him towards, wait, my sister is the most evil person ever. Now, I don't know what it's going to take to get him there, but any of these events, you got to think they're chipping away at him, right?
Yeah. Inch by inch. And I don't think he's going to, I mean, if he goes back to Cersei and says, hey, by the way, found out it wasn't our brother who killed, our son.
Don't you think he holds
doesn't matter.
that?
Still kid dad.
Don't you think he holds that for a while? He holds that shit in and then explodes on her?
Oh, I do.
Do you think, hold on. Do you think Cersei already knows?
No.
You think Jaime goes there and says, hey, the Tyrells poisoned our son, and she goes, I know.
No.
You don't think there's a possibility?
Please don't be right on that, because that's too smart for you.
We don't know.
Did you wait?
Listen, Craig. She would have. She would have already murdered every Tyrell. She is not like, if we know anything about her, right? While she's willing to wait for justice, she is not a patient woman, right? I mean, she essentially committed genocide on a short timetable.
It's probably just the whiskey talking. I'm just throwing it out there. Figured it was a thought. Figured, who does she hate more? Does she want to get rid of Tyrion more? Or does she want to, at that moment, I think she would have wanted to get rid of Tyrion more. Maybe that's why she said it, even knowing that it wasn't Tyrion and that maybe the Tyrells did.
At that moment, did she hate Tyrion or Marjorie Tyrell more?
Didn't she know the prophecy that her brother would strangle the life from her before Joffrey died?
Well, yeah, of course.
That will inform who you hate.
No. But that same prophecy said that there would be a younger, more beautiful queen, and Marjorie was that queen. She hated Marjorie more than she hated anyone.
Okay.
Right, but at the same time, she needed the Tyrells. At that moment, she needed them on her side.
I don't believe Cersei. I'm just saying
it's worth exploring.
I don't believe Cersei ever thinks she needs anyone more than anyone else. Like, she'll take whoever's there that suits her.
She needed their money.
She had the money from the Bank of Bravos. The Tyrell money was gone.
It's very hard to tell right now what Cersei's thinking about anything. So, I mean, we're just speculating here. So we'll see next episode whether Jaime actually tells her.
Oh, she's thinking she wants some more brotherly love.
So then let's take this back to the events at King's Landing. So, Euron comes back. They're cheering for a Greyjoy, which, I mean, I don't think you would ever see that in King's Landing. He's got really two gifts for Cersei, right? He's got the sand snakes. He's got his niece along for the ride, but he's going back with her. So this is when Cersei really kind of goes into that Mad King territory, right? And this is where the comparisons are starting to form, where she is just very flippant, right?
No,
she just turns on a...
She did exactly what the Mad King threatened to do. She ignited the wildfire. She's already there.
Yeah, but she hasn't done that in public. Like, she hasn't been so...
She ignited the wildfire. Everybody knew it was her. She burned the Sept of Baelor and everyone in it. She's already there.
Okay, so she's now just embracing...
Yes, she's embracing
the persona of the Mad Queen.
Right. That's what she's doing. And Euron brings gifts and says, there's only one thing I want in return. She's like, well, you'll get laid, but after the war's over. And then she promptly takes her brother into the bedchamber.
And then doesn't even mind that the handmaiden that we saw in season 2, I believe, sees it again.
Don't even care.
Just like, whatever.
Don't care at all.
Don't even care.
Yep.
Whatever. Open the door.
We're gonna need new sheets, by the way, because we've soiled these.
God, what a bold fucking move. But the scene that really just, I mean, wow, that lost for words was when she walks into the dungeon, the cell, and we've got the two of them
plants a kiss on Tyenne's lips. And
I was sitting there going, she's wearing lipstick. Oh no. Like instantly knew exactly where this was going, except it went even darker, which is like, and your punishment, your crime is I will keep you alive and you are going to watch her die and decompose. That's what you're going to be stuck doing for the rest of your life.
Gross.
I cannot think of a fate worse than that as a parent. That is just not. I mean, that can never even enter my brain. George R.R. Martin is a fucked up man. I don't know how he thought about this punishment, but it is the most Mad Queen-esque thing besides blowing up the citadel that's there.
You know, those of us who aren't parents were also appalled. Just gonna say.
No, man, your pain's not the same as mine.
Just saying. Yeah. It's screwed up for everybody.
It is indeed screwed up. She's not getting out. But
I want her to.
Oh, it's not going to happen.
I don't think there's a lot of people who want her alive besides Danny, but by the time that Danny gets to the Red Keep, she's already dead. Like, someone else will kill her by then. Maybe even Jamie will just put her out of her misery, but I mean, like, she'll be dead in some way, shape, or form. She's not going to sit there and watch that happen. Her daughter's going to die. She's going to find a way to kill herself. She'll be dead.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough to do when you're bound. But okay.
Listen, if I could give it to anybody, it'd be her, right?
Yeah, Ilaria Sand is a willful woman for sure. I don't see it. She's guarded. It's well lit. There's people checking on her. I don't see it.
People are placing the torches every once in a while,
right? So she doesn't miss any of the decomposition of her daughter. Good God, was that some shit? Right.
Chills.
All
right, so let's round out the episode with at least some happier news. Ser Jorah is cured. Yay!
Right.
He doesn't have grayscale.
Right, which in that scene, he's like, yeah, Professor Slughorn, I got better.
Must have been the sleep. I took some NyQuil. I feel great.
Right. It's kind of like when you're a kid and you pretend to be sick so you can stay home from school.
No. It wasn't like that. It was like the dog that just turns his face away from the mess he's made on the floor. It was more like that because it was very clear that Sam treated him. And then he's like, no, I just, it was a scratch.
Vitamin C is
they turned me into a newt, but I got better. So it's fine now. And then, Slughorn takes Sam. He's like, Sam, in my office. And sort of, I think, opposed to what everybody thought was going to happen was like, you're actually really good at this. Now you're going to learn today. Now read these and do more.
Yep. Yeah, I love that. He's just like, hey, I need you to, these are getting old. You need to rewrite everything. And Sam's like, well, this is bullshit. And he's like, what, you thought you would get rewarded?
But that's what I think what Sam doesn't realize at this point is that is a reward. He's going to rewrite all these ancient texts and in rewriting them, learn all of them.
Yeah.
This is brilliant. And it's the best way to teach. Right? You did good. You did good. Guess what? You need to do good again today.
So any stray observations, final thoughts of this episode of Game of Thrones before I go to your crazy theories?
I am sad again, like, I flashbacks to when I was listening to book 4 or 5 or whichever one Arya was missing from, that her presence is always missed by me. I miss her when she's not around. I need more Arya in my life. I need it to happen in the next episode.
I am hungry like the wolf and for the wolf. If a dire wolf showed up next episode, I'd be extremely happy.
My lingering question is really, what is the fate of Melisandre? Where is she going? She was wise enough to not go to meet Jon and not overplay that hand. But she says that she'll be back and that she has to die there.
She's going to go commune with wildlife in the desert somewhere.
Yeah, but that character will come back on screen and
I didn't say she wasn't. I just said
she's going to take a bunch of peyote and dance around naked.
Yeah. For the next three episodes, that's what she's doing.
I'm not going to lie. I'd watch those episodes. As long as she's wearing that necklace. If she takes off the necklace and does the peyote dances around, not watching those episodes. Right. Only with the necklace on. But very interesting.
Bran is her spirit animal. They commune together. He'd be like, yo, bitch, I saw you take that necklace off. That shit was freaky.
You're not the only one who can play an old man. Let me take over this person. Anyway. We could be old together. All right. Well, that is this episode. Thanks so much for sticking around.
Terrible.
I'm sorry for the mental image I put in your head.
Ever.
I'm so sorry for every joke I made. I just owe you a massive apology. So join us next week. We'll be talking about the next episode, episode 4 of this season of Game of Thrones. I am CJ Millen, joined by Josh Burns and Brian Thornton and Craig Newcombe in spirit, my friend. Always in spirit. We will see you guys next week.